Okay, welcome to Destination Wealth from Simba Financial Academy. So let's get started. The purpose of this is to basically give an introduction into getting started on your journey to becoming wealthy. People have to recognize that in order to build your wealth, wealth is not a sprint, but it's a marathon. So you just need to take your time and you will get there. So the first thing I want to talk about is everybody needs to come up with what is your FU number or fuck you numbers, basically. I was watching a movie called The Gambler, and John Goodman was in it, and he was talking to Mark Wahlberg's character, and his thing was like, how much money you think do you need that you'll never have to work again, take care of everybody in your family, and do what you got to do. And I believe Mark Wahlberg character said it was like $2 million. At the time, he was down maybe 500,000 to a million. But it's definitely a good movie. Everyone should check out. All right. So what is your FU number? Basically, how much would it take to quit your job and live a life you want to live? So everybody should just take a deep breath, close your eyes, and listen as I walk you through this experience. So basically, think about what will it take for you to feel that you are very comfortable with your life, not having to go to work. If you want a side gig or a side job or whatever, that's up to you. But just what do you think it will take you to get to that point? Because everyone has a number. You just have to decide what your number is going to be. It could be 1.5, it could be 2 million, 3 million, whatever. However, to put a spin on it, you may think, or I feel like you should look at maybe living outside of the United States, because over time, America's going to get their money back from you. So, you put all this money in your 401k and all that stuff, but unfortunately, with your 401k, they are going to charge you whatever the rate is at the time that you are, how can I say this? They're basically going to charge you whatever your tax rate is when you were working. So if you're in the 22% percentile, 30% percentile, whatever, that's how much they're going to charge you depending on how much you're taking out of your TSP or your 401k or your FO3B, I believe it's called. So that's is something you have to be mindful of when you're choosing a number. Now, my wife and I, this is some things that we've talked about. I've always wanted to be able to fly private. Not all the time, but when I have a moment, I would just love to be able to fly private. With her, she always wanted a house and a boat. Me, I like vacations and just having the cash to be able to help family, friends, and anything like that. Now, your mindset is what you have to change first. So Leon Howard, he goes by the name the Wall Street Trapper online. Something he said when I ran across his page a few times. You have to change for what you say you want or change what you say you want. So it's like if somebody's saying, "Oh, I want to be wealthy," you can't keep buying the next iPhone, flat screen TV, going on vacation and stuff. You have to sacrifice somewhere. Now, I'm not saying you need to eat beans and rice like Dave Ramsey says, but you have to decide what's important. If you have to like take 5 years off and just try to save and invest. Now, save and invest is two different things. Now, saving is going to take you forever to get to your goal because with them printing money, meaning they're using what's called quantitative easing, which is the Federal Reserve, with them doing that, it's going to take you years and years to be able to retire. However, if you use what's it called, investments, REITs, real estate. REITs is a form of real estate that's on the stock market. So that's basically buying like public storage. Like say, just use public storage for an example, where a lot of people who are moving or live in apartments or even live in houses, but the house is too small for all the stuff they've accumulated throughout their life. So you have public storage where you can invest in. I think the last time I looked at their stock, it was almost $300 a share, two something, can't remember exactly, but they pay, I think their dividend is every 3 months, it might be $2, $3. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure. So I probably have to check. or if you're listening to this, you probably can check at the same time I'm talking. But you accumulate enough shares in that, then you're in the real estate game. However, when it comes tax wise, REITs are only treated like how you would if you have stocks. It's not going to be treated like if you own actual real estate. You get a lot more, um, not credits, but you get a little more help from the tax people when you do real estate. Now, you can do real estate, you can do stocks, you can do crypto, you can do Airbnb, you can do, it's a lot of things you have to make the money. But when you're making the money, you cannot have lifestyle creep. You cannot, as soon as more money come in, you go spend more. The more money come in is the more you should save. And I believe it, and I've seen this. In 5 years, you can be a lot further along than if you didn't do it, right? So, definitely, it's all about investing. Another thing is we need to stop trading time for money. So as we go to work every day, we're trading time for money. If you look at the way you are, let's say, for example, you have one job and you go get another job. You're still trading your time for money. Now, if you take that money from the second job and you invest it, now you're going to be over time, you're going to buy back your time. So instead of retiring at 65, 70, you probably can bring it down to late 50s. You add some of your current money that you're paying from your first job and your check, you can bring it down maybe into your 40s. And then it just becomes a snowball effect. So you just have to look at it like that. Investing is we buying our time back to do whatever we want to do. So like I said with the first one, we need to stop trading time for money. If you have that side hustle, that small Airbnb you got, your parents, God rest their soul, if they left you some inheritance money, or a grandparent or a cousin or whatever, just invest it. Don't even use it. Act like it's not even there, because that's the best way, to be able to get ahead. Another thing is when it comes to mindset, poor people associate the price for everything but know the value of nothing. I don't think I need to go into detail with that one. You can kind of tell what that is. So I'll just say it again so you can hear me. Poor people associate the price for everything but know the value of nothing. Poor people live check to check. Rich people live year to year. Wealthy people live generation to generation. When you look at all these old money people, even some of these new money people, old money people like the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, the Rothschilds, that's old money. The new money is the Bill Gates, the Elon Musk, the guys who own Google, Steve Jobs, God rest his soul. It's different in different because tech is leading the revolution now. So that's basically the new money, and that's the wealthy, and they setting up their family for generation after generation. We need to do that. We can enjoy some of our riches, but we need to look 50 to 100 years down the road so that our kids and kids' kids will know what it's like. Because with the onset of artificial intelligence, there's not going to be a lot of jobs around, and then they're trying to bring in what's called universal basic income. That could probably make things even worse. On another slideshow, I'll probably go dig more into artificial intelligence and what we may look forward to and how we need to get our money up, because the way I see it is you need to have a certain amount of cash by 2030, because the World Economic Forum, WEF, which is run by a guy named Klaus something, I can't remember his name, but basically they're trying to turn everybody in the world into renting everything. You're already renting your cell phone. You're kind of renting your home, although you might be paying a mortgage on it and you're on the deed. But is it really your home? Like, let's think about it. You still got to pay taxes on it. So it is what it is. And then another thing is giving value to people. That is where the wealth is. So by you creating something and being able to give people value, that is where a lot of your wealth can end up generating from. And you can live a better lifestyle that you live now, but you have to be willing to sacrifice. Now, here is just showing you how you can grow your first 100,000. So now I can attest that this actually works because I have seen this with my own TSP that I have. So basically, let's say by saving $10,000 a year, and let's say you put in VOO, VOO can give you anywhere between 8 to 10% per year. I think it's been averaging almost 11%. Now, if you take in the little bit of inflation we got recently, let's say inflation usually anywhere between 2 and 3%. If you go to 11%, you're still getting 8% of your money, 8% on your money. So this might actually cut down the 7.84 years that it's saying that it will charge you, or it will take you to grow your 100,000. Might not take that long, And if you buying some other stocks that's part of VOO, so there's about 10 stocks that make up like about 30% of VOO. You got your Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, which is Google. I believe Tesla's in there, Berkshire Hathaway, United Healthcare. I think Nvidia is in there. I just can't remember all the ones off the top of my head, but your money can grow. Now, I know with me, when I buy TSP, it took my first 100,000 was shorter than the 7.5 years because I end up putting in a little bit more than 10,000 per year, only because I was just dating my wife. We wasn't kind of married yet. I was still living in my parents' basement, and then we got together. I cut it back a little bit, but the compounding effect was kind of already there. So I think it took maybe 5.5 to 6 years, give or take, before I hit the first 100,000, and I was shocked. And now I'm close to the million spot, but you know that money, unless I live outside the country, that money ain't really gonna help me too much by living in America. So this is why I keep saying, it's better if we live outside the country. But that's neither here nor there. All right. So if you want your first 200,000, once you get that first 100,000, and you go from the 100,000 to 20 to 200,000, and you're still doing $10,000 a year, look, it's cut down. It went to 5.1 years. Then you go into your next one, which is 300,000, 3.78 years, so almost 4 years. To 400,000, almost just a little over 3 years. And then to 500,000, 2.5 years. Like just the power of compounding over time. Just the hardest thing is getting that first 100,000. Was it Charlie Munger saying that? He's like, and please excuse my French, although this is not French. He said, getting that first $100,000 is a bitch. And once you get that, it just takes shorter and shorter amount of time for you to get the next 100,000 and up. Now, you have to disrupt your life code. So we were taught to go to school, go to college, get a house, get married, do all that stuff. Okay, I have nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. However, maybe pushing some of those, doing something else, like even if you do go to college, try to go to a cheaper university. Try to learn something that is going to maybe help mankind, like if it's going to be computer science, artificial intelligence, which deal with machine learning. Coding, you can probably do that, but they're probably gonna have the machines coding. Maybe if you don't want to go to college, you can do technical school, so you can learn how to fix HVACs, plumbers. People gonna still need those people. Like even though, you know, we may be going to a higher tech thing, you still need people who know how to do that because those machines are not gonna know how to fix toilets, plumbing, and HVAC system and all that. It's gonna take them a while to get to that point. And then the last part of it was comfort is the death of a thousand joys. Because you get so comfortable, you you don't have much joy. Like you're comfortable for the moment, but then you start maybe looking in somebody else's yard, seeing what they got, and not focusing on what you need to focus on. And so before you know it, 5 years have passed, 10 years have passed, and then you end up with regrets. So this can be at any age. Like who was it? Colonel Sanders didn't become a millionaire until he was in his 60s or almost 70s. Like, don't think that it's too late. It's just you just need to get started. So there's a phrase they say. When is the best time to plant a tree? It was like years ago. When's the next best time? Right now. So that's what you gotta do. You gotta put one foot right in front of the other, and you need to just go ahead and just do what you have to do to get where you're trying to go. I mean, for you to like not club, travel, do all that thing for 5 years, you're not missing anything, right? And by the time you get to that point, your 5 years, you maybe have your million or even 500,000. You may be close to being debt free. You may have a house, couple properties, whatever. You just never know. It's just you just have to put the time in. And you need to always remember you deserve to be wealthy. Don't let nobody ever tell you you don't deserve to be wealthy because you do. It's even in the Bible. I don't remember the verse, but God talked about the different riches in heaven and stuff like that. Ain't no, you can use some of the riches down here before you get to heaven. And then, yeah, you can't take the riches from down here up to heaven. And I'm not trying to get real biblical or nothing with it, but you need to feel that you deserve to be wealthy. Like have that strong inclination and then just put one foot in front of the other and do it. If you're born poor, there's nothing you can do. If you remain poor, you can only blame yourself. So a lot of us was born into different situations, right? So I can speak about both sides of my family, my mom's side, my dad's side. They all grew up with servants in their house because their family had money. Now, when they come to America, that all went by the wayside because they gotta basically start over. Now, I can speak for my daughter. She know what it's like to have a housekeeper. She knows what it's like to have a nanny. She like certain things she's accustomed to. And so I've been teaching her how to invest. I got a couple accounts for her. So she's getting an inclination of how things works. She's any money she gets, she knows she has to save 50% of it. And then when she starts actually working, she needs to save 70% because whatever she decides to do when she gets older, get married, have kids, at least if she's not working, there's money still there that if her husband is working, they aren't losing anything. And it helps her start her kids off so that when they reach this certain age, they don't have to be like um, asking mommy for money or whatever. They know how money works. They'll have their own money. And then upon the passing, they have more money that will be passed down to their trust or whatever. So that's there for their kids and they teach their kids. So each one teach one in a sense. And then Ronald Reagan, one thing he said that I could agree with is freedom is never more than one generation from being extinct. And this is where, if I look at my family on both sides, my mom's side and my dad's side, parents ain't married. They never was married, but that's neither here nor there. But one thing is, they grew up with riches in their families. Then they came to America. I grew up with none of that, and even my brother and sisters on his side, they grew up with none of that. You know what I'm saying? So this makes sense. Freedom is never more than one generation from being extinct. And now we're all working, busting our tail, whatever. Um, I am a little, I'm not gonna say better off than my family, but I've taken steps that I don't have to work as hard as when I first started because I've been investing, I've been doing this, I've been reading. So I've been in the stock game or investment world, I would say since I was 23, and my godmother gave me my first Roth IRA application. And whew, thank you, godmother Ann. And then this goes into why I said you need to learn to sacrifice. So Gerald Edmondson, this is the quote that he dispelled upon us. Be willing to accept short-term discomfort for pleasing long-term results. So this is where I'm saying you need to be able to sacrifice now, right? I know it's going to be hard. You partying, you enjoying time with your friends, you traveling, you're doing whatever. But, you know, being willing to just accept the discomfort for right now so that down the road you live in a better life than most people, most of your friends, family members, or whatever. And even when you load it, you ain't got to tell nobody. Just keep it to yourself. They don't have to know. Now, this is the U.S. debt clock. Um, the U.S. debt clock, this is of 2020. The U.S. is $34 trillion in debt. Taxes has to go up to pay for this. Every child that is born, the debt is added to their name. So I'm showing you guys this because this is 2020. We're in 2024 now. However, I think we're at 36 trillion and counting. And as they add more and more money, that means taxes have to go up. So this is why I say, when you're doing your investment, yes, just get your match for your 401k. But you need to have a brokerage account. You need to have a Roth IRA. You need to have an HSA. Is it HSA? Yeah, you need to have an HSA. You need to have so many vehicles working so that you need your money working harder than you're working. There's only a 24-hour day that you can work, but your money can work more than 24 hours a day, although there's only 24 hours in a day. Now, if you're not aware of, the stock market is rigged, and I'm pretty sure we all know this, but it's rigged to go up over time. So there's going to be times where it's going to go sideways, it's going to go up, it's going to go down a little bit, but over time, when you step back, as you can see with this, the market is rigged to go up over time. Now, keys to successfully investing in the market. What you want to do is look at a company or sector. So there's 11 sectors that you may be interested in. There's information technology, healthcare, financials, consumer discretionary, communication services, industrials, consumer staples, energy, utilities, real estate, and materials. Each stock that you look at, you got to determine their competitive advantage. What makes them be ahead of everyone else? Find out if they're making money in what they do. Look at their debt. If it's going down from previous years, then it is worth an investment. Now, if you come to a company and here, let me just look at this. When I first got into this game and I used to listen to people, and this is why I stopped listening to people and just reading books and stuff like that, they would always say, whatever you're spending your money in or on, you should invest in. That is the dumbest advice you can have. I tell you why. Let's say you get a lot of Starbucks. Starbucks is an okay company, but I don't think Starbucks is the best you want to do. Apple, I can see why, and that's because Apple is very competitive. Like, they own a lot of the market. Target is a decent one. Walmart is okay. IT, information technology, is what's leading the future. So, you want to look at IT. You can look in. Now, the thing is, you have a lot of IT companies that spread out in different categories. So, for example, when you look at Amazon, you would think that's just IT, but that actually is in, if I remember correctly, consumer discretionary, right? When you look at Google and Meta, aka Facebook, you would think those would be in IT, but no, they're in communications. So the best thing to do is Google this stuff, and you can kind of get an understanding of what to do. If you don't want to Google the stuff and you want some help, you can come to Lysimba Financial Academy. I am more than happy to, explain these things to you either as a group or as a financial consultant for you individually, or a financial coach for you individually, or for your family. It's up to you. I have many different packages you can choose from. So you can always just, sign up, come talk to the information session. If you like what you hear, we can get a contract going, and you can, join the family. Other keys to successfully investing in the market. You can also put their ticket on Yahoo Finance. There's also Seeking Alpha. Even just put it in Google. You can go to different pages and they explain different information. And then you're going to look at the chart and see what it looks like over 5 to 10 years. If it's going up, you want to make sure that the chart shows that these companies are going up like steps over time. So if you take an escalator up the steps at Metro or wherever you take the train or airports or whatever, and I just make sure it's going up over time. You have to zoom out. So you got the 5-year look, 2-year look, whatever, 10 years, maybe the max, and just make sure that it's going up and to the right, not going down. And then from there, that's definitely a buy. And here it is again where I said the market is rigged. Since many of the richest people in the world have their money in the market, it has to go up over time. So here you can see I have here the S&P 500, which includes dividends. If you was to just put your money in treasury bills or treasury bonds, so you can see from 2000 to 2022, you can see out of this, let's see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 out of the what? 22, 23 years, the market has been up. So I think that's a good investment. I mean, compared to putting your money in a regular bank account. And then even if you look at the 3-month T-bills or the 10-year bonds, yeah, those went up here and there, but over time, you grew more money just investing in the S&P 500. You didn't have to go into individual stocks. Now, these billionaires have 4 things in common. They have stocks, a business, real estate, and a succession plan, right? So with stocks, they got a lot of them started a business and then got a lot of stock from the business. Then they run in the business, or they may be stepping off and somebody else is running their business, but you still own stock in the business. Then they bought a bunch of real estate, right? But they have more stocks than they own real estate. And then they have a succession plan. If upon their passing or they get ill or whatever, they have people in place who will take their place to make sure the business keeps going. Now, here is the S&P 500 sectors. So as you can see, if you can make this out, you can see Amazon's up, Microsoft down a little bit. This is from, just so you know, this is from December. So if you're in today's market now, a lot of these are green. So as you know, green means good. Red means we're having a little issue. So you can even go into Google and type in stock market heat map, and a lot of times this will pop up or to take you to the page. I think I got this from wallmine.com. I just, because I tend to use that when I'm investing or I'm trading. So this is 2 of the major exchange traded funds, ETFs, that people invest in. And this is their top holdings. So you have a lot of people, they'll just put money in VOO or SPY every 2 weeks when they get paid. So it's just like a bill. Or if you want, you can put it once a month. And basically you're just setting it and forgetting it. So you have Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Tesla, Alphabet again, because there's 2 shares, there's A and C shares. Meta Platforms, which used to be Facebook, Nvidia, Berkshire Hathaway, and United Health Group. That's VO. SPY kind of got the same ones. Their weighting may be different, but they kind of invest in the same companies. You got Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Class A and C shares, Tesla, Berkshire Hathaway B shares, Nvidia Corporation, United Health Group, and Meta Platforms. So you can see what makes up these companies. Now, here's a cheat code. If you don't want to invest in the VOO, you can just invest in these companies right here. And your gains will definitely be high depending on, what's going on with each company. You can probably do an equal weighted investments into these. So like, let's say every month you put $100 in each one of these. Or if you don't want to do that, you can just put $1,000 in VOO. And then you got an extra extra 490 companies. So it's just up to you of how you want to do it. Another thing is, if you don't want to buy those tech companies, you want to do REITs, which pay dividends. Some pay once a month, and some pay every 3 months. It just depends on how you want to do it. Now, the good thing about REITs, if you're somebody who want to get in real estate, but you don't have certain criteria to get real estate, like check this out. REITs, you don't need good credit. You don't need to deal with tenants. You don't need a real estate agent. You don't need a license. You don't need to perform maintenance. They do the property management for you. There's no 10% fee that has to be paid to them to manage the property. Your return is anywhere from 5% to 15% annually. Most REITs pay monthly. and REITs have to pay 90% of the income to avoid corporate taxes. Now, if you need more explanation of this, come to the Simple Financial Academy, where I can walk you through this, explain certain things to this. Because the point of me to do this is I want to hold your hand to help you to understand what you're investing in so that down the road, once you come into a lot of money, you kind of know what to do with it. Now, eventually I will turn my business over to become an investment advisor. However, I'm trying to keep the same structure that I currently have because as an investment advisor, they tend to make money off of your investments for you. So whether you make money or don't make money, they're going to get paid. My thing is that let's say I'm not around or my daughter doesn't want to run my company anymore or our company anymore, you'll still be able to make sound judgment. And even if you decide to go to an investment advisor later, you can kind of punch holes in their stories to know if this person is really a fiduciary, meaning they're working in your best interests. Because that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to be your fiduciary so that I can help you so that as time go on and more money comes in, you can make more and more money. Because what you want to do is take your money and just make more and more money. All right, so here's how REITs work. Basically, use money to buy and manage real estate. So they can buy malls, office spaces, warehouses, hotels, apartments. So when you look at like a Walmart or a Amazon, a lot of times they don't own those buildings that they have their stores in or that they have their inventory in. They're renting it. So you can be their landlord. Just think about that. You being Amazon's landlord or owning, being their landlord and owning Amazon stock. The double whammy. You got growth. So once they make their money, the rental generated and growth, and then the dividends, at least 90% of profits are distributed back to the investor, which is you. Another name of REIT or names of REIT. So you have Federal Realty Investment Trust, Tanger, Factory Outlet. So if you go to outlets in Rehoboth, which is Delaware, I know they definitely have those out there. Some of the malls, um, Digital Realty Trust. So if you ever think all that data that is being taken from you with Apple, Samsung, Meta, all these different companies, all the data that they're extracting from you, Digital Realty Trust owns warehouses where they have the servers there and the data is stored on that. You can own shares in the REITs, be a landlord for these companies. Iron Mountain, I'm pretty sure some of you guys have heard of them. Avalon Bay communities. So you see those big apartment complexes, stuff like that. A lot of those companies, even some hospitals are owned by some of these REITs, but it's Universal Health Realty Investment Income Trust. Like you just never know. You know, it's a lot of REITs out there. As I said, I can talk to you about it. You know, if you come to the Simple Financial Academy. So as you can see, they have different tickers. Here's the prices, how much they were. I don't know. This is from This is from last year, so the prices have gone up or gone down. The dividend yield is how much they pay on the dividend, and then how many years they've been increasing their dividend. Look at just look at the first one, Federal Realty Investment Trust. They've been increasing their dividends for 53 years. You know what I'm saying? You go down the list. Some have been doing it in the last 20 plus years, 19 plus years, 18, 16, 12, 10 plus years. So it's a lot of them out there. Now, I know how you're feeling. I am afraid to lose money. Probability of losing money in the S&P 500 decreases from 46% to 6% by increasing your holding time from 1 month to 10 years. This is what Bank of America said, aka Skank of America. I have a personal beef with Bank of America, but that's my own issue. How do I get good returns? Basically, it's better to buy a good company at a fair price than buy a trash company at excellent price. Warren Buffett. Never true words. I'm not convinced. All right. Assets inflate the same way the cost of living inflates. And if you've been living since the pandemic till now, you kind of know that is true. The rich get richer because they own the growing assets. The poor get poorer because the only thing that goes up for them is the cost of living. The barrier to entry for assets keeps getting higher and higher the longer you wait to buy. Chris Johnson. I'm telling you, if you're not convinced, just read over this again and I'll do it for you. Assets inflate the same way the cost of living inflates. The rich get richer because they own their growing assets. The poor get poorer because the only thing that goes up for them is the cost of living. Barrier to entry for assets keep getting higher and higher the longer you wait to buy. I'm telling you guys, like, you have to start buying these assets. I know you may think that, oh, I just own 10 stocks. Or buy more. Set yourself up. Just say, okay, this year I'm trying to buy 5 companies or 5 REITs or whatever, and I'm trying to get, by summer, I'm trying to get 10 in each one. Break it down. Every 6 months, you're trying to have 10 in each one. Because let's just think about what we spend our money on. We spend our money on crap. Go to Target, load up the cart, or we get a bunch of streaming services we don't need, or we go buy a bunch of groceries we don't need or eat. We end up throwing out more stuff than we do. Like, you can definitely take the time to see where your money goes and be able to invest it, so that in 5 years, 10 years, hell, depends on how far you want the outlook to be. You can be further along than you are now. You just need to take the time. And usually this is where I put it. I know you got questions, but since I'm not there with you, this is just a recording. If you got questions, as I said before, come to Lasimba Financial Academy. You can go in and schedule an information session. I can sit down with you. We can hash out what you want to do, and then you can sign up for the services, and we can get to work. Start mapping out your plan, get you situated, so that in a few years from now, you good to go. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me rant and go on. So, once again, Lasimba Financial Academy. If you would like to do a one-on-one, just sign up. If you want me to come to a church or a corporate function or anything, just let me know and we can make that happen. Once again, Lasimba Financial Academy. Thank you and have a good night. Bye.